Welcome. The next dungeon in this series is the Temple of Atal Hakar, commonly referred to as the Sunken Temple, a much more reasonable name to say the least. This dungeon offers a surprising amount of AoE pulls, has a healthy amount of quests to complete, and some decent loot. In spite of all that, very few people are interested in running this dungeon, and even less will bother to do multiple runs after having finished their quests. This is simply due to the fact that its vast size and confusing layout make it very unattractive to new players. That being said, we'll get into it by starting on the lower section here, which is comprised of swamp lurkers, maggots, and worms. This section is the lowest level portion of the dungeon, and as you can see, it's very easy when you come in here at the appropriate level to deal with the last boss. You can chain quite a few of these packs together and be moving on to the middle portion of the dungeon in no time at all. As we make our way through the dungeon, we'll encounter packs of trolls in a circular hallway on the next floor. These are pretty easy to deal with. You can definitely do one pack at a time, no problem. So I like to try and grab two wherever I can. You see in the hallway there are a number of locations that you could be using to line of sight effectively, but they don't hit too hard either way, so you can decide to ignore them if you prefer. So while we're in here, let's do a little throwback to Torch of Holy Flame, which if you're not familiar with this weapon is from Duskwood Quest. It is an offhand that allows you to pull from 30 yards away. You're gonna see I use it right there to pull those whelps. I grenade another pack of whelps in the middle there, and now I'm going all the way to the right to grab these guys. We also have a frost trap about to get put down here, which I'm gonna take full advantage of. Otherwise, this pull does get a little rough. 800% need slows. You can see the Blizzard came in a little late there. My mages, for some reason, love to cast Flame Strike before Blizzard, even if it risks me losing my life and the entire pull going to shit. I can respect that, but it is a little bit risque. Speaking of which, might as well go ahead and show you a pull that doesn't go quite as well as planned. Now, the plan is simple enough. The setup is pretty standard. We're going to go for the left side first, and we're going to take them over to the right side, and we're going to call it a day. Just like any other pull, no problem. We even get a nice trap right here in the middle. So obviously I'm gonna bring these mobs back to the trap, right? Nah, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that down there because I'm crazy. Now we're running around. Left, right, center. We got Flame Strike on the right, Blizzard on the left. Nothing's matching up. This is just controlled chaos at this point. Somehow, someway, we're bringing everything into the middle still. Between me and two other mages holding aggro and running around in circles, we've gotten most of them back into the middle. Everything's all clumped up finally. It only took me almost all of my health. And to be honest, I am hamming that up a little bit, but I do consider that a bad pull by most standards. So once all the dragons are dead, it's time to move on to the zombie room. Personally, my favorite room in the dungeon. We can do two very large pulls here of about 3 to 4 packs each. You can go ahead and grab this entire front row. Pretty much no problem as long as your group has slows. The majority of these mobs are melee. There's literally only 2 casters. This is a very standard pull. It's almost the same size as the pull for the zombies in ZF. So it's very appropriate that these are zombies yet again. You can see we're doing it almost the exact same. The difference here being that instead of clicking on graves, we're just running around and getting smacked in the face a bunch. Not too bad. The only real important part here is just making sure that you are not standing directly in these mobs even after they die, because you will get destroyed by the goats. And unlike ZF, you can't come farm this pull as quickly as the other one because you actually have to do an entire event where you kill about 6 mini bosses. I don't want to spoil too much for you, but it's time consuming. Yet again, just another part of the reason that people don't run this dungeon when they could just sit in ZF. Speaking of spoilers, I don't like to give away too much of an instance. You know, I really do want to leave some sort like form of discovery for you guys out there. If I tell you everything and hold your hand, where's the fun? That being said, I noticed at the end of my last video, I didn't show the princess fight. Gotten some questions about that, so I'm gonna go ahead and show this fight and explain just the very basics of it, because there are some interesting mechanics. It's actually pretty similar to Princess in terms of you need 2 tanks, ideally. You know, Princess, it's really nice to have a pet or a warrior or someone around in order to help you tank because there will be a threat drop. In this fight, the threat drop is 10 times more noticeable, more dangerous, and this guy will destroy your group. You can see that the pet here is able to tank pretty effectively, even without heals there. No one healed that pet pretty much the entire time. No problem. Like, he actually did that 100 to 0. And, you know, I can get threat back basically just by waiting. As long as I keep generating threat, it's really not an issue. This back and forth makes the fight really easy. That being said, I have seen it done with, for instance, just mages. Mages can blink around, they have ice block, they essentially can ping pong the aggro while you are slept, but that's not extremely reliable. You can see that this boss is just trucking me here, and there's just not a lot of room for error. You want to have some sort of contingency plan. You definitely want to be on level, because if you come in here under leveled, you might be able to get all the way to the boss, but he's just going to wipe your group, and then you're going to have spent all your time in here just completely wasted. On a side note, the shield from this boss is fantastic. Lasted me quite a while. You know, I wasn't able to get the Maraudon shield, so this was a very good alternative. Highly recommend it. You can't go wrong. That's going to be all for now. In the meantime, have a good one.